This episode of Trim the Fat is brought to you by the Lott team, Memphis real estate powerhouse. Carol and Amanda Lott with Cry Like Realtors bring a wealth of knowledge and a track record of getting contracts to the table. Buying or selling, they're your go-to guides in the world of Memphis real estate. Visit thelotteam.com. That's TheLottteam.com to connect with the Lott team. Or you can text Amanda at 901-461-9246 or Carol at 901-461-4869 and let them turn your real estate dreams into a reality. When it comes to your home, experience matters. The Lott team, where expertise meets hometown hospitality. Hey, and Happy New Year. Welcome back to Trim the Fat Podcast, a podcast designed to help you on your emotional, your physical, and your spiritual journey. Today, I have Amanda Lott, my friend, and we're going to talk about all things family, all things to get you ready for juggling those things throughout the new year and how she does it so successfully. And Amanda, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am Amanda Lott. I'm a realtor. That's my biggest hat, I guess. I'm a mom. That's my most important hat. I have a 12-year-old daughter here in Memphis. And I have a lot of leadership responsibilities, a lot of volunteer leadership work. I also own a gym on the side because we just didn't have enough to do. So I've got a lot of things that I juggle. Work-life balance is a struggle, but there's ways to get there.
Good. Well, I'm glad you said juggling because we're going to talk about that because the new year, new me, or new year, same me.
Right.
We want to do different things. So juggling those things, have you changed like your perspective or plan for 2024?
2024 is going to be, I never really make a plan, I guess. And I also never really look back all at one time. So this year was a little bit different. 2023 was a rough year. It started off rough. It got better as we went along, but it was an interesting one, as the same for so many people. But by the time we got to the end of 2023, my fiance and I sat down and we looked at all of our pictures. Mm-hmm. His real motive for that was because he says I'm notorious for taking the pictures and then not sending them to him. So there was an ulterior motive there. But we went through and looked at all of our pictures for the last 12 months. And we wrote down what we did, which if you do that, it is kind of amazing what you forget that you were a part of or accomplished or did, because the negative has a tendency to outweigh when you're looking back till you get farther enough away, and then all you see is the good. It's an interesting little balance. But we wrote everything down and kind of realized the things that we loved, that we really enjoyed, and things that we would like to do more of. So we kind of made a plan for 2024, which I've never done before, but I think it'll kind of help get us in a different direction. You know, the things that everybody wants to do: more travel, more time with family and friends, more money, but without all the work. We're working on trying to figure out how to get there. I would love to be independently wealthy one day, but we're not there yet. But kind of getting a plan. So I feel like 2024 is going to be a year of planning. This next chapter, whatever that's going to look like.
So intentional. You're being more intentional.
A lot more intentional.
No, it's always good to have a partner.
Instead of just floating through. I feel like we have a tendency to just, life happens around us instead of planning to participate in it. So
2023 happened so fast. It's all a blur. It's a blur to me. So like when they said it was Christmas time, we started to have to plan for Christmas. I'm like, okay, I didn't even think that it was this fast, even though we were just going through the motions, like you said. So why don't you do plan?
I feel like sometimes I'm more also in therapy, so there's a lot of that coming out too. But planning has a tendency to set you up for success. Or failure. I've always thought is a possibility. Like if I have a plan and I have goals and then I don't meet those, well, then what does that say about me? So we just won't set them. We'll just try to do better than we did the year before, and that's enough. But I'm starting to realize that maybe writing down those goals, there is some power in that. Manifesting is a thing that we're toying with a lot now. floating through life is not the way we want to do it.
It's not, and it's always good. So I've said that because it's just interesting. I always envision you say, okay, I'm going to plan this and everything.
People would think that because of my personality, but surprisingly, no, because I'm just always scared of failure.
I am too, but I always, I learned we started doing this maybe 12. Nadia's 12. So before Nadia, we do vision board every year.
Mm-hmm.
So then
I've
now
seen you
Nadia
do
and I
vision
do
boards.
vision board. I've done it at church, and I found, because I was like, I'm just doing it for fun.
Right.
But I found if it's somewhere you see every day, it reminds you of the things that you forget about when you're floating through. So that's why I was like surprised. But I'm glad. I like that thought process too, because I know one of my other friends was here, and we were talking about how we have these long to-do lists. But then when you don't do it, even though it's supposed to be a benefit to us, when we don't do it, like, we're beating ourselves up. Like, why didn't you handle that?
Absolutely. The pressure of productivity is ridiculous. And to some degree, we've done it to ourselves. But being productive does not measure your worth. And a lot of us have continued to believe that that's the case.
And work, our careers sometimes make us feel that way.
Absolutely.
The more you do, the better you are. But that's not, it's the quality.
Right.
But
quality over quantity.
Okay. Well, so fiance, and you're going to plan some things. You looked at some pictures and things like that. So how is that, like, maneuvering into planning things and the fiance thing and the mom thing and incorporating all of that?
Balance is an interesting thing. And I think that the misnomer that we have is that balance is just that. It's going to be an equal playing field across all facets of our life. We're going to have the same amount of energy put out into all of these little buckets. That's how balance is going to be accomplished. And that's not at all what the reality of our life looks like. So with the planning, Wes, my fiance, is definitely... I'm a planner in every aspect of my life except for my personal life.
Yeah.
It just floats around. And so Wes and I kind of decided that we need like a goal. Like, where are we going to be in 5 years? What's the plan? When Cameron graduates, will we be in Memphis? Where will we go? What will we do? And realizing that, like, well, if any of that's going to happen, we're probably going to have to put a plan in place and start making moves towards that. So I think I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be good. He's definitely the driver behind that. He, of course, could never tell me, hey, babe, this is what we need to do. I had to come to that conclusion on my own, or I would not be doing it, because control freak type A over here.
Me too.
But once I did that, he was like, oh, I think this is a great idea. Because that's always how it goes. But it's a new start to this year. It feels different, and I'm excited about it. Not that the other starts haven't been great, because I feel like I've restarted a few times in my 37, almost 38 years. I feel like I've had a fresh start or a do-over a couple times. And I think I'm kind of planning the next one, as opposed to just waking up one day and going, all right, well, we're starting over now.
No, I love that. So for me, last year I didn't do the planning. But then I think about it like, is that a reason why everything was just so jumbled up?
Did that feel a ruckus for you?
So now Sunday, four of my friends, we're getting together, and we're going to do a little vision board and party and have some food and all that kind of stuff and make it fun. But I'm going to see and compare, see if it makes a difference.
Yeah.
So what's some places that y'all have that you're thinking about traveling to?
Well, we'll probably be going overseas at least once this year, but I'm not 100% sure when or where just yet. The details are being ironed out. But we also love, there's auto camp parks across the country where you can stay in Airstreams that have been like renovated and really nice in the parks. So we did that last spring break, and I think we'll be doing that again this year. So I've learned over the years of being constantly busy, is that burnout obviously is natural and happens quite a bit. You have to have something that you're looking forward to.
Exactly.
So the bigger goals are great. And like knowing what the final outcome could be in 5 or 10 years, like, yes, we're driving for that. But I have always seen the benefit in knowing, all right, I need a quarterly happy. I need a quarterly prize of sorts to say, oh my God, you made it.
Yes.
Good job.
You do.
And I tell people all the time, that could be something like buying yourself a really nice purse. I'm a realtor, so when I talk to other realtors, it's like, buy yourself a nice purse after a closing. Buy yourself some nice shoes. Well, if you're successful, eventually you're going to have way too many purses and way too many shoes. So the prizes have to get a little bit bigger, and they have to get a fewer and farther between. So quarterly happies, whether that's driving to St. Louis or driving to Nashville or driving somewhere for the weekend, whatever, just something to look forward to that's like, in a few days I can escape.
So let me tell you why that's refreshing to me, because I just was having this conversation with my best friend in Chicago, and I was saying how I haven't bought myself anything high dollar amount to reward. And she was like, you work so hard and you do so much for other people. Why are you not? I said, well, I buy Nadia stuff. And
Right.
she said, well, what about you? It feels good when you do reward yourself. But one of the things I like to do is go out and eat to new restaurants. I like to be with friends. I think that's a reward. Like after a long, busy week or 2 weeks, being around good energy.
Yeah.
But no, refreshing to hear you say, reward yourself. Because you have to.
You do work hard. And in everybody's got different career paths, but if you're an independent contractor and you work on commission, which a lot of people do, you're always on to the next thing, because that is literally how you survive. That's how you eat. That's how you have fun. That's how you put a roof over your kid's head. So it's like, oh, that closed. Okay, what's the next? Okay, what's the next? Instead of going, man, I just helped those people. And there's always those moments where you're like, this was an emotional transaction. This was wonderful. But it's nice every once in a while to just be like, you worked your butt off, like hard. And some of them are easy, but some of them are hard. Nobody sees the behind the scenes. And it's like, you see it, you do it. Then give yourself a pat on the back, buy yourself something nice, and maybe, or just go to the spa go to a wonderful dinner, buy a really nice bottle of wine, whatever it may be, but something that drives you to like, I worked for that. And I did it.
Yeah. So I have a trip planned to Tulum.
Oh, awesome.
So I've never been there, and I'm looking forward to that. And then I have, I'm going somewhere else, but it's for work, so I'm going to separate that. But I am having Tulum, and I am going to try to go to Amelia Jean's downtown.
I still have not been there yet, even though I live downtown. I still haven't been, but we're going soon.
Okay, because I saw it. I said, oh, that's so decadent. It's so
I've
nice.
heard good things.
Okay. So now, juggling, mom, business owner, traveling for work, doing that sleep. So what about sleep deprivation or taking care of you? And I'm not going to use the word balance, but how do you navigate and make sure that you're still good and Cameron's still good and all of that?
Boundaries I live by boundaries, but they're very hard to set, and sometimes they're invisible and they're for yourself almost more than the other people around you. Boundaries can, I think, mean a lot of different things, but or take a lot of different shapes. But I'm usually up by 5:45 or 6 a.m., which is not my favorite thing in the world. But now naturally, it started happening. My alarm goes off at 6, but I'm up at 5:45. I don't know why. Bedtime is hard for me. I have a tendency to doom scroll. I love to doom scroll. I love my TikTok. It just makes me happy, but it is highly addictive, and you can go for a very long time. So I try really hard to shut that off at 10. Okay. And then I try really hard to journal for 10 or 15 minutes. It does not happen every night. I am not perfect, but when it does, I know the difference. When I do it, I sleep better, I wake up easier, and I just feel better. There's definitely some truth to consuming media in all different forms before you go to sleep. It's just not good for your psyche. But they say don't do it for like an hour before. I cannot commit to that. Baby steps.
I need the TV on sometimes to get. I don't know why. I've just been conditioned. I conditioned myself. But one thing I do, and people need. I'm glad you said journaling, because I've been talking to a lot of people don't do it. I don't know if you just started doing, but
I go back and forth. I'll go on and off. I feel like it's kind of like taking antidepressants and medication. You have a tendency to you do it when you need it, and then all of a sudden you're like, I feel so much better.
Yeah.
I don't need to do that anymore. And then 6 months later you're like, God, why do I feel like crap? Well, because you stopped doing the couple of things that were good for you because you thought you were better, whatever that looks like. But it's just like an antidepressant. Things that are good for you, you have a tendency to go, we're good now. I don't need that anymore. No, you're good because of that. Keep doing it.
That's true. I'm so glad you said that, especially with me coming from pharmacy and medical field. So we have to tell people we have to tell, when I was working in retail in the pharmacy and I had my people come in, they'd be like, oh, I'm not getting my I said, okay, you've been doing good. Don't skip it, because we're going to start the cycle back over and it's going to be worse than before. It's the same thing with self-care.
It's the same thing with that. When you get on a habit and a routine and things get better, and then you stop it and you wonder, what happened? Yeah, that's what happened.
Well, you just you have to put thought into it. But journaling, you feel better, and it's good to do it before you go to bed. It's good to, even if you don't write it down. I like writing with my penmanship, but if I can't do that, I do it on the phone. I have a note section. But then I stopped doing it on the phone when I saw that she can share my notes.
Oh, God, no. Absolutely not.
Try to separate that. But no. So, I have to separate. Something happened with the iCloud or something.
Well, and I've learned a new journaling tip too, especially if for anybody that has ADHD, and I have unmedicated ADHD.
Undiagnosed.
I didn't know I had it until a few years ago. And at that point it was like, well, we're already here and we're figuring out how to make it work. So we're just going to continue on. But stream of consciousness journaling, because my brain works faster sometimes than my hand can. If you're not going to go back and like really read it or review it, the stream of consciousness handwriting of just, you're not actually writing letters, you're just flowing as your brain flows, and it's going to look like straight up gibberish or scribbles. You're still writing it and it still has the same effect, but you can do it faster. Like the stream of consciousness can just go quicker and you're just scribbling almost.
Okay.
Give it a try, especially if you've got like just a lot you need to get out.
And then my mind never stops. And yours probably like that too. It never stops. That's why it's hard to go to sleep at a certain time. And then you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, okay, wait, I forgot to do that, or I need to do this, or did I say, yeah, so it's a lot that goes on in this thing. So stream of consciousness.
Yes, stream of consciousness journaling, just scribble. And it's your brain's still doing the exact same thing. You're just not having to write the P and the L and the, and all the things.
Okay. Love it. Thanks
Give
for
it
sharing
a try.
that. Okay. So what about, let's go back, because I jumped over you and you were telling me about your balance and, having a child and a real life outside of work.
Well, and a product of divorce too. My ex-husband and I, luckily, we get along very, very well, but the balance between getting her from point A to point B on the schedule that we have and the difference, and it's a lot of juggling, a lot of driving, a lot of chauffeuring, which I know is going to be the rest of our lives for the next several years when these children need to get from point A to point B. But it does make it a little bit harder, and then wanting to be as present as possible. I do carpool almost every single day, whether she's at his house or at our house, because that is kind of my time. It's short, but I have 22 minutes from door to door in the car that I can listen to something, listen to music. I try to make me driving to carpool as stress-free as possible. I try not to work on that drive. Then I pick her up in the car. We only have maybe 10, 15 minutes, 30 if we're going to go to Chick-fil-A. And then even on the weeks that she's at Kyle's, I take her to his house. And so that's just kind of my 30 minutes a day with her to decompress, check in, make sure she's good. And if that's all that I get with her that day, I know it was quality. I wasn't distracted. I most of the time am not in a pissy mood from whatever would have happened earlier that day. And I try to just be, okay, I'm picking you up. This is the only time that we're going to get today. I've got to make sure you're good. I've got to be good. And there's something about going in that mindset that just the rest of your day is a little bit different. But it's in the middle of my damn day. 2:30 to 3:30. I don't schedule appointments, and I just try to be present for that. Our morning may have sucked. Somebody may have yelled because, the toaster didn't work, or we're 5 minutes late. We needed to be there sooner or whatever. But that hour towards the end of the day, it's like, okay, whatever happened, it doesn't matter. This is where we are now. Let's make sure you're good for the second half of your day of homework and all of that.
I love
And
that.
then I tie up all the loose ends.
I love that. So we share the co-parenting and the divorce type thing. So I don't do that. I wish I had the wherewithal all the time to leave.
Yeah, not everybody has the ability to stop
though.
in the middle of the day and go pick up their kid.
That's a blessing. So I wait. So those times when she's gone, like when she's with her dad, that's when I'm more productive though. I'm like, okay, because I won't feel guilty.
The mom guilt.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
It's real.
It's so real. So I won't feel guilty. So I'll just let something slide when she's, because I'm like, that's my time. And I don't even talk to a lot of my friends during the times, because I'm like, okay, that's my time. I don't get that much, so let me dedicate it to her. And even if she's doing something with Cameron, or talking on the phone, or we're cooking together, we're doing something where I know she's with me. Yeah. So you talked about the 5-year planning, 5 or 6. Is it 6? When do they go to college?
I don't know.
Wait,
sooner than I'm prepared for.
So what's this? 2024.
2024
So in 6
now,
years.
6 years. Yeah.
That's gonna fly by.
It is. That's the thing. It's gonna be here before we knew it. Think about how fast the last 6 went. Before I know it, I don't want to be like, oh, remember that plan we had 6 years ago where we thought we might like leave and start over and do something different and big and bold with our life. I don't want to be like 6 years later and going, remember we had that plan? That was great.
I know.
Wish that had happened.
I know. So the plan, like do you think you're gonna stay in Memphis? Because I know your mom is here.
I don't know. We have a fantastic career here, and we will continue to do that, obviously, until one of us decides we don't want to sell real estate anymore. But she's been doing this now for 38 years, and I'm 14, and so you do kind of look back and you're like, all right, well, it's been a really long haul. Is this going to be what I do for the rest of my life? I don't know.
Just keep adding.
10 and 15 years ago, I would have never thought that I would have been excited or prepared for the possibility of doing something vastly different.
Yeah.
At in my 40s. But now that I'm closer to it, I'm like, no, we can do this. This is fine.
Yeah.
It's no big deal.
It's not. And we
can
can't look at
start
the
over.
age. You can't look at your age.
No.
Because it's so many things that people have started their career when they were 45, 50 years old.
100%. Or write that best-selling novel or start
That's
that
what I'm gonna
show.
do.
Like, there's so many. I've seen the memes and it's true. Like, show me the 50 or the 60-year-old that started over and not the 20-year-olds that made the top.
It's because, though, a lot of people that do that, they've been through so much, or they learned so much, so they feel that it's some value, or they're just doing something finally for a reward for themselves.
Finally.
Like, okay, all these years have passed and I didn't do anything. I'm finally going to step out.
Yeah.
I believed it 25 years ago, but I really didn't believe it enough. I believed it 10 years ago, or I had a family to take care of. I couldn't do it. I had to put myself last. So finally.
Take the risk. It's worth it.
Yeah. So that's one thing I want to do. I want to write I've been wanting to write a book since I was like 20. So it was 67 years ago. So one day I will, some kind of book somewhere. Okay, so we talked about, you had the gym. So you said you didn't think about that you were going to be owning the gym and everything.
This definitely, the gym was an impulse decision. No, we talked about it for several months before we did it, but it was not on our radar at all. But my mom and I are business partners and we live downtown. And so we have a neighborhood gym that we go to. It's Shred415. And we'd gone there. It opened in March of 2020, so COVID was not kind to the time, and nobody could have known that was happening. But we worked out there for a couple of years, and then we had heard through the grapevine, through our real estate connections, like, hey, you go to this gym, right? I've heard that it might close or they're going to sell, and we were like, oh my gosh, it can't close, because working out is kind of my lifeline. That's what started my balance, if you will. When I got sober almost 6 years ago, 5.5 years ago. Yes. And when that happened and I made that decision of like, all right, my relationship with alcohol is just not healthy anymore. We need to reevaluate. I needed something to fill that gap, obviously. And a lot of pent up energy, anxiety, just, hyperactivity to some degree. And for me, the alcohol was more of it's a depressant naturally, but it was a calming effect to get me out of the hyperactive state that I'm mostly in. And so I had to do something with that. And so I started working out. Never worked out before. It was always like fit and little and like I have a good metabolism, but I had never lifted a weight in my life. But I needed something. And they had classes on like Friday nights. And I was like, well, I don't know what else I'm going to do on Friday nights at this point in my life. And so I started working out. Well, that became in my mind, you have a tendency to replace one addiction with another. I did not replace it, but it definitely took precedence over a lot of things because it helps with the endorphins and the dopamine. It gives you that happy chemical. You can get addicted to that happy chemical, so be careful. Yeah. But, you have to take the good with the bad. So the fitness journey continued, and knowing that was my lifeline for mental health and stability was working out on a regular basis. It wasn't to be fit. It wasn't to have, great muscles or join a competition. It was just for my mental sanity. And so when I heard it was going to close, I kind of panicked a little bit and talked to Mom, and we said, well, maybe we should just buy it because we don't have anything else to do. Because, this was also 2022.
Okay.
So height of the real estate market. Oh, yeah. We didn't have anything else going on. No, I think we did 100+ transactions that year, which was insane. Looking back, I don't know how we managed to do everything that we did and buy that gym, but I still have it and I love it. And it's turned into a passion project for sure. It's hard to juggle all of the things, plus having the gym. I now have, 7 or 8 20-something-year-old additional children, it feels like. And it takes me back of like, holding these kids, it feels like hands sometimes and like seeing their life evolve. And I'm like, I think I might be making a difference with some of these kids.
Yep. No, you are.
That whole role model vibe. And I'm like, well, this is something I never anticipated being part of my story. Even though leadership is a thing that's with your peers, but actually like helping guide someone through some really rough parts of their life, with emotions and hormones and feeling, like just all of the things.
And we got to get ready for that for
all
the girls.
Of it. Yeah, I'm like, y'all are helping me. Y'all are my own therapy. But it's been an interesting juggle, but I wouldn't change it for anything. Mom and I, we were already ridiculously close to begin with, but now we're even closer. It's a blessing to be able to work with her every day. I will definitely say that. But also Cameron, having our kids see us do what we do and take some of the risks that we take, I think me buying that gym, whether it, fails in 5 years or I sell it next year or whatever may happen, that was something that she saw that was like, wow. Like, because I told her point blank, this is a risky thing. Like, this is a big deal. People don't just buy businesses and have their mom go in halvesies. And she's 60, she's in her 60s. Yeah. Her retirement is closer than mine. Mm-hmm. And we're all just taking these chances and risks because why not?
Yes, I'm glad you shared that.
Yeah.
It is why not. So do you feel like talking about, we got a few minutes left. Yeah. You feel like talking about what led you to your sobriety? Like,
no, absolutely.
That's a big thing because a lot of people don't face that. They feel like that's, okay, I can't get out of that slump. It's a slump. Yeah. It's a cycle and it's different things. And it's like some people don't even identify that they have that issue.
Correct. So a lot of, I don't identify necessarily as an alcoholic because I don't think the substance was my problem. Okay. And that'll be lesson number one. Mm-hmm. People that get sober for so many different reasons. It needs to be for yourself most of the time in order for it to stick. But sober curious is my favorite phrase because it's like, all right, I know that everybody around me drinks. I know I grew up in a generation that drinks. Mm-hmm. We go to a funeral, we drink. We go to a baby shower, we drink. Mm-hmm. Wedding, drink. Graduate from something, drink. Success, drink. Sadness, drink.
Wow.
Deal wins, great. Deal falls apart at the 11th hour.
Oh, you gotta
have a drink. I mean, there is not a single instance in life that you can't say that might be better or worse with a drink. And that's kind of what the conditioning has been as an entire society. But if you are naturally predisposed to mental health issues, or you are unfortunately one of so many of us that suffer from anxiety or have post-traumatic stress disorder from some type of traumatic event in your life, alcohol is probably not going to be your friend. Right. It's a depressant. It's just not going to be your friend. You think that it's going to help, but it doesn't. I did not have a rock bottom moment like some people do, some people don't. I did not have a rock bottom moment. I had that realization of I don't remember things, and that was stressing me out. Total blackout. We're talking 2 drinks and we'd black out.
Oh, okay.
Like it was not I was not a binge
like
drinker.
Bottle,
there were points where I was a binge drinker. We'll say that.
Okay.
But at the end, that was not the issue. It was just how I felt, how I slept, what I was doing on a day-to-day basis and what I wasn't able to do on a day-to-day basis, like waking up on time and not being late to take my kid to school. There was a time I got a letter. I was handed a letter at carpool because my child had been late. And we're talking like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, but enough time that they have to go in and sign in and, be documented that they were late. It had happened so many times that they had to send me a letter. Yeah. A letter. Yeah. And that's when I was like, why can I not get up in the morning? What is wrong with me? My mom's a morning person. Why can I not get up? Oh, it's because you're drinking at night. You probably need to stop doing that. And it was one of those just the first few days. I did dry July. That's how it started. So I did dry July. We're just going to see how it goes. I kind of wanted to prove to myself that I didn't have a drinking problem. There was some, if you even remotely question if you might have a problem, there's a very good chance you do, but maybe not. But there's definitely a good chance that you probably need to evaluate your relationship with it. Yeah. What is it serving? Is it serving you anymore? And taking those 5 or 10 minutes before you have a drink to ask yourself why you're wanting to have that drink. And if it's just for like the taste and because it's fun or because you're having a glass of wine with dinner, be my guest. Yeah. But if it's because I had a bad day or I'm sad or I'm mad or whatever, work through that first. Okay. Then have the drink. There's nothing wrong with drinking. Right. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, yes, it is a poison and like don't do too much research on it because it'll make
too much of anything.
Too much of anything. Yeah. But don't do too much research on it too because it'll scare you after a while. But there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not going to be for everybody. It's been a wonderful choice for me. It's definitely the reason I've been able to produce at the level I do, both within real estate, both with just personal life, but also taking on the leadership roles that I have. I definitely couldn't have bought the gym and done that if I was drinking. There's no way.
Yeah, I wouldn't have bought the gym because you would think
I wouldn't
about
have seen even the opportunity. And same thing with the leadership roles that I've been presented with. You have a tendency when you feel like crap, everything around you also kind of looks like crap. Yeah. And so you miss the nice shiny things that are being offered in front of you because you're too busy feeling like crap all the time.
That's a good point too. But also, the other side of that, the flip side is, even when you're doing something that's blocking your blessing or the goodness, it probably won't even present itself. Even if you were able to see it, it probably won't present itself.
Yep.
But no, I love you sharing that, because there's so many people right now that's just like,
Oh, especially right now, dry January.
yeah. But that's a good motivator, a good inspiration. Motivation is only temporary. Inspiration stays. Yeah. So no, I know you said I wish I would have had you. We're gonna have to come back because
we got more. I do a whole hour-long class on work-life balance. Go.
Yeah, so we're gonna do it again. So right now, tell people about where Shred is.
Yep.
You could talk about Lott team and the Realtor, how to get in contact with you, all that good stuff and whatever. Yeah.
I'll start with Shred. Shred415 is a gym downtown. So if you're not in the downtown area, that's okay. We have a parking garage and we validate parking. That's usually people's biggest fear with coming downtown is the parking. We got you covered. On the street. Or you can park on the street and take your chances. I will not reimburse you for your ticket, though. But it's a wonderful community. We really are a community. It's 4 15-minute intervals, hence the 415. And it is HIIT workout, but don't be intimidated by it. It's your workout. Our instructors are phenomenal.
They are.
And high energy. I got a lot of former cheerleaders, so you can't leave there in a bad mood. It's just not possible. And so that's downtown in Peabody Place at 2nd and Peabody. And then the other business is the Lott team with Cry Like Realtors. And we sell a lot of houses. And if you're thinking about buying or selling, or you have questions about the market in general, because man, is it all over the place right now with interest rates, give me a call or shoot me a text, 901-461-9246, and I am happy to talk to you about it.
Yay, and I'm thankful because eventually I'm going to be able to buy me another house. I've been saying it for the last 4 years. Yeah, so hopefully I will be, and I'll be contacting you.
Of course.
Going to the gym at your gym tomorrow. Yep. If you like this podcast, go ahead and subscribe and follow us on Instagram, trim_the_fat. And we look forward to seeing you next time. Happy New Year. Hello, Trim the Fat community. It's Rhonda, and I want to share with you a fitness secret. It's been a great addition to my life. Shred415 in downtown Memphis. If you're ready to kick fear and anxiety to the curb while sculpting your best self, Shred415 is the place to be. Picture this: 4 15-minute intervals of heart-pounding cardio and muscle-burning strength training. It's not just a workout, it's an empowering experience. I've been there, I've felt the burn, and I've loved every minute. Head over to shred415.com. That's shred, SHRED 415.com to learn more and then pick a class. Shred415, shaping lives one interval at a time.